Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Regen Roulette. Now, last time we had some movers, we had some shakers, some people that really took me by surprise actually with where they went and how they did. And we are entering the early 20s for some of these players. It's becoming real crunch time for one or two to whether they're even going to really make it on the big scene. When I say one or two, we all know which one I'm referring to. So without further ado, let's take a look how the boys are doing. First up is John Tucker, firmly entrenched as Tottenham and Wales #1, but all is not well in paradise. As you can see, he wants to leave to play in the Champions League. So clearly Spurs didn't qualify for the Champions League because they finished all the way down in 8th. And it wasn't entirely Tucker's fault. He played alright. He played well in Europe. But clearly he sees himself as a step above. He sees himself playing for the world elite. And I wouldn't say he's quite world elite yet. But I'd say that he's certainly well on his way. Whether he'll get his wish and he'll get his move, I'm not too sure. I think that perhaps this is maybe his level for now, and feel free to disagree with me here, but I feel that where he's at now is fine, and he shouldn't perhaps be looking to run before he can walk, as it were. He's still only 20, but then again, maybe he's an ambitious young man and he really wants to play at the top, and you can't blame him for that. But for now, I think Spurs is the right fit for him. Let's see if he stays there. Erwin Stuckstetter, how are you, son? Tasty is the answer. He's a very good player. He's broken into the Dutch team. He didn't have any caps last time round, if memory serves. Still, squad-wise, in the under-23s, was that the case throughout the season? It wasn't, because he was loaned to Lyon. And he didn't play spectacularly well, must be said, but serviceable, I guess. Still, I'd perhaps expect him to do a bit better with the quality at his disposal. Eric Boy has gone, so it's Lindelof and Tuanzebe at the moment. I mean, Stuckstedter's just a better player, for my money. So I would whack him in there. As a side note, I know this doesn't matter, but as a Leeds fan, that pains me. Pains me greatly. Kennedy Garcia up next, and he's at Gremio, so he's moved. Oh! I've just seen this. What? 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 Kennedy, you fiend. So he moves to Betis for 550k, and a season later they flip him for 25.95 if we're getting technical, £1 million profit. Wow. And then they loan him out to Gremio. He's done very well there. It was me a couple of episodes thinking, oh, he'll do well to get to Gremio by the end of his career. Now he's playing for Bayern. So unless Stefan Schmidt's moved, we've got our first two playing together. So that'd be lovely. Wow, I didn't see that coming, and he's a good player. Again, I don't think he's as good as Stuckstetter, but he's getting the opportunities, and he's grabbing them with both hands. And he's playing in their first team, and he's doing well. And yeah, I mean, fair play Kennedy Garcia, mate. Now the Jeb Geb. He's got a couple more Scottish caps. He's now a rotation option at Burnley, where he was a backup before. And he needed, I think, in my mind, to take that next step and make a few more appearances for Burnley. Has he done that? No, not really. And he's played well. He's played really well whenever he's played for him. And he hasn't. I just checked. He hasn't had any major injuries or anything like that. He is wanted. by Tottenham. He must have done enough in those few appearances. I don't understand why Burnley aren't playing him more. I mean, he's listed as a first-team player, but maybe they were just doing a bit of rotation or something. I don't know why he's not got more appearances for them. But I mean, he's still only 19. He's still only 19. But I feel he could be commanding more of a wage. He could be making more appearances. But if he's wanted by Tottenham, he's clearly got something about him. So we'll see if that'll show next year. Andrei Yeremyev up next, and he clearly fancied a change of scenery because he's now at Kuban Krasnodar. Now, last episode we did note that they won the league last year, so perhaps they're now the new power in Russian football. He's made some more appearances for the national team. He's now a perfectly capable and natural left back, so he's clearly that's what he's going to be. I still don't agree with his media description of being an attacking fullback. He doesn't have the requisite. I mean, he's not a terrible crosser and dribbler and what have you, but I would expect a little more perhaps for someone that was attacking. But then again, he's not particularly prolific defensively either. He's sort of between the two. So clearly he's moved from CSKA. He's getting paid 77 grand a week. So fair play to Andre. I'm going to reckon that he moved for around 10 mil. Wow! I would do the high-pitched whistling noise if I could whistle, but I can't. So that's why I didn't, because otherwise you just hear me going, and nobody wants that. It's 24 million simoleons for him. Wow! And he's not exactly set the world alight. So clearly Krasnodar are the team to beat in Russia, as they won the league last year and CSKA dropped all the way to 6th. The Yeremyev effect? Perhaps not. Perhaps. Who knows? I don't know what's next for Andre. It seems that he's reached the peak of the domestic game. Will he get a move to one of the bigger leagues? I mean, there's probably only a handful that are bigger than the Russian league. And maybe this is where he will stay for the foreseeable. I don't think that's bad career-wise for him. So we'll have to see what's next for Andre. Roberto Brazier, the 21-year-old. He scored a goal for Canada. He's got 16 caps for them as well. How did he do last season? He's also, I noticed, he's an accomplished centre-back now. So perhaps they're playing him in centre-back a bit more. Not particularly something that I agree with, given he isn't the best header of the ball, but it's not the worst. So again, another one that is looking to leave. He's lost the trust in the manager. Apparently some promises that were made to him have been broken, so he's looking to leave. And he has some suitors, Standard, Köln, Alkmaar and Feyenoord. So he has the option to move, and I would certainly expect him to take it. Perhaps he's moving up again, old Roberto Brazier. So well done, lad. Grant Miller up next. Same problem that I always have with Grant Miller. He doesn't seem to stand out particularly anywhere. He just is fine, and that's showing, I think, that he's still only a hot prospect. He's still in the under-23s. Did he manage to make some appearances at least? He was on loan at Cardiff in the Championship. Was pretty decent there, to be fair. Got himself a goal and a few assists. Got himself a couple of red cards in 15 games in the league. I did say early on that he would have disciplinary issues. First real time I've been right, but you know, first time for everything, I suppose. But yeah, at the moment he does scream to me upper Championship, lower Premier League player. I don't want that to be his ceiling, but it could be. It could be. He really needs to work on something in particular, just to get a couple of those 13s and 14s up to 15s, just to show what he's got. I mean, his passing is 14, his vision is 14. Is he that more creative type? But the fact that he's also a good tackler, and that he's a good marker, and he's aggressive, does that mean that he's the ball-winning type? He's neither, really. or both and neither. It's a tough one for the lad, but he's got a difficult road ahead, and I don't know if he's got the minerals. Tabby Mocker up next. I think last episode I might have gone a bit out of order compared to usual, because now players are starting to change their positions, because I used to go from back to front, as it were, goalkeeper to striker, but as a few of them have started to change their primary positions around, or what have you, it's making things a little more tricky. But I've had a look at what the episode 1 order was, and I'll stick to that from now on. So if last episode there's a slight deviation, I hope you could cope with it, but it will go back to normal. Anyway, Tabby Mocker. I fear that the same thing has happened as last year, that he hasn't played enough to really progress. He's a regular in the South Africa side, which is always a positive, but he's at 21, he is one of the older players involved. He went on loan to Mainz last season, was decent, still hasn't made his first team appearance for PSG yet, but a decent Bundesliga team in Mainz, did alright. I think that almost certainly he's going to get loaned out again next season. He is listed for loan, so that would be what I expect to happen. I think he needs to prove that he's got the quality on loan. And another one perhaps that I don't know exactly what his position is, but I think that he is more a defensive-minded centre midfielder, given that he can also play defensive midfield and that his vision isn't spectacular to perhaps be that more creative type. But he can still play, so perhaps he's got a similar problem to Miller, as he doesn't have quite a defined role. Helio Camela up next. And were you Helio? Were you a wonder kid before? Helio, mate, were you? Alright, don't tell me, it's fine. So, this is a player where I know where his strengths lie. He's the more technically minded midfielder. Granted, he can tackle as well, and he can mark to a reasonable extent, but he's definitely more with his vision, with his technique. He does have the stamina to get around as well, so he's not a luxury player, quote unquote, but he is a more defined player. Did he get his chances to play last year? He did, and another one that went to Lyon. I believe Stuckstetter also went to Lyon, so those two would have got a chance to play together. So that'd be nice. He did make a Premier League appearance as well. Didn't set the world alight, but he was much better at Lyon. Still, again, not creeping above those sevens that you'd want to see, but decent nonetheless. He is still in the under-23s though. I would like to see him in the first team squad, in amongst there. That is the next step for him, quite clearly. But he's got the talent to get in amongst. I don't think he's an every week starter by any stretch, but he can certainly do a job in that team, I feel. Stefan Schmidt up next, and he got a loan move. He was loaned to Leverkusen, and he is starting to improve those technicals. I can certainly notice it. His crossing is up to a 14, his technique is up to a 15, those mentals are still superb. He is making the right strides. He's still only 19. He is progressing nicely. How did he do at Leverkusen? Not amazingly. Made a little deal with the devil in the league, but he got his first senior goal, so that's always nice. Yeah, I think he's got a real chance of being on the periphery of the Bayern squad next year, if not going on loan to another Bundesliga team. I mean, Leverkusen finished 4th last year, and he was a fairly regular starter, so I think that speaks volumes. And Bayern did not win the league. Congratulations, Leipzig. Albert Hermans. Pretty prolific at international level, but has he got enough game time at club level? He is listed for loan this season, so perhaps he was loaned out last year. I think a loan move is the right move for him, because he's clearly good enough. He was on loan at AC Milan the year before last. Went on loan to Wolves last year in the Premier League. Was again fine, but not good enough. He should be shining in that team, and he's not quite doing that. Wolves are a newly promoted team, and he did help them stay up, So you can't argue with that. City finished third behind Helio Camela's Chelsea and the Man United team of Stuckstetter. And in fairness to Tucker, Tottenham did finish all the way down in 8th. So perhaps maybe he needs to move on. But still, I don't think that's... I still think that's where his level is. But anyway, enough about Tucker. He's a good player, but he can't break through at the moment. He is getting the game time though. Not at City, but in the Premier League. And that can't hurt him, I guess. It's just whether it's helping him. I think it is. But his technicals, where they once were the best out of the bunch, perhaps he's been caught by other people. His physicals, again, while they were a standout of everyone, are now dropping into the middle of the pack. His mentals are still at the upper end, but you don't look at Herman's now and think he is definitely the best player, which you would have done a few episodes ago. That may continue if he doesn't get enough game time, or indeed show that he's good enough, because he hasn't done that yet. And unsurprisingly, Federico Zanoli isn't amazing. I'm surprised that he's still at Napoli. I'm surprised that they've stuck with him for so long. I'm also surprised that he hasn't changed his haircut at all, because it's stupid. But you never know. But he is now wanted, so perhaps he will be moving on. He is listed for loan, and he's wanted by lower league Italian teams. And I think that is his level. He's been obviously given a new contract at Napoli because it expires in 2024. But has he even made an appearance anywhere? Yes! He came on as a sub, and he scored! Federico! You cheeky little minx. Getting on the score sheet. Oh, who let Federico score against him? There it was. A 90th minute winner. Federico Zanoli against Crotone. Or Crotone, I don't exactly know. But it was a big goal. Napoli finished third last year. 1 point to get ahead of Fiorentina. If he doesn't score that goal, they're finishing fourth. So whilst I think it's clear to everyone that Federico is going to be a low league striker for the majority of his career, he has had his moment in the sun, and I'm happy for him, because he's by far the worst of the bunch. I don't think there's any two ways about it, but I'm glad that he got his moment in the sun. He got his goal, and it mattered as well, which is always nice. So there we have it, another year down, and some surprises once again. Kennedy Garcia, 2 episodes in a row. You have taken my expectations, you've thrown them out the window, you've got them from outside again, you've thrown them back in through the window, then you've gone inside again and thrown them back out of the window. It's very complicated what you're doing to me, Kennedy, but you are taking my expectations and just doing what you want with them, and I appreciate that. John Tucker manages to hold on to the title of most expensive player, and I'm not going to do any spoiler alerts this time because I only get them wrong. But of course it's Federico Zanoli this time. The wage goes to Yeremayev this time. He's getting that bumper pay packet, and I'm going to guess that it's still the Gebster that's the lowest paid. Back of the net. So there we have it. Let me know what you think about that one. Are you as surprised as I am about Kennedy Garcia, or did you see him becoming this player anyway? And if you did, please comment that, so then I can comment back and call you a liar, because you didn't see that coming. Nobody did. Any players that you've got a bit of an affinity for or think should perhaps do a bit better, also let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, just drop it a like, so I know that people are involved and like what we're trying to do here. So we will join you again in 2023, the distant future. And some of these players now will be getting well into their early 20s and towards that age where they should perhaps be nailing down that first team place. But who knows what's going to happen. So join us next time on the next episode of Regen Roulette. And until then, I've been Michael from Crane and Crane, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.